Hello and welcome to the Your Healing Team podcast. I'm Emma Green, physical therapist, tennis elbow queen, and host of the Your Healing Team podcast. And welcome to this episode. Today, we're going to be talking all about posture, one of my favorite subjects. And so let's dive straight in. So posture is one of those subjects that, it's quite interesting. So about a couple of years ago, I created a posture course. In fact, not even 18 months, probably there or thereabouts. And I got a group of people to sort of have a little look at it before I put it out there, just to kind of give me some feedback. And one of the pieces of feedback that really stuck inside my head was everybody needs this, but nobody wants it. So everybody knows that they should have good posture. They should focus on their posture, but nobody wants to do it. Why not? It's hard work. They've got to think about it. They've got to make changes. You got to do it all the time. It's really hard. It doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that. And I found that really, really interesting that this is what a lot of people's perception are. It's kind of like posture. Oh, really? Do we have to talk about posture? And it's one of those things that I've made a couple of tweaks with clients in the past, and like one little tweak can eliminate 10 years of back pain. It's like, why would you not do that? Like, seriously, why would you not do that? And so people have come to me for all kinds of issues. Obviously, I see a lot of tennis elbow clients, and sometimes people, once they get on track with their tennis elbow issues and they see that they're starting to settle down, people start saying to me, do you do knees? I've got this back thing. Can you recommend somebody for my shoulder? And so, when we start peeling things back, it's like, oh, just try this. And maybe it is just one little thing. And that's what happened with a couple of my clients. And I made sort of like one suggestion, and they would come back and I'd be seeing them for their tennis elbow the next week. And they'd be like, oh, it's amazing. And literally had transformed their lives from feeling back pain really constantly all day at work, even on the weekends, doing the yard work or the laundry or loading the dishwasher or whatever it is, playing with the kids. And one simple change took away a decade of back pain. So this is why we talk about posture. This is why I get really excited about posture, because posture is something that, yes, we all need to be aware of. And especially in this day and age when we are all so hunched over our screens, or, you only have to look at teenagers who are sort of like curled up in a ball around their phone. And we're not designed to be that shape. We're not designed to be chair shaped. We're not designed to be inside concrete boxes and metal boxes all day long. These bodies of ours are designed to be running around the fields, chasing animals and picking berries. That's really what we're designed for. We're designed to move. We're designed to move. We're designed to, be in different shapes and different positions. Posture is not all about being in one position and staying there. Posture is about your body being able to react to different stresses and strains that in a normal way and not in a painful way. You should be able to bend down and pick up the paper from the ground, when the paper boys delivered it. You should be able to bend down and pick up the dog's bowl. You should be able to bend over and cut your toenails. I mean, you should be able to do all of these things without discomfort. Our bodies are designed to be able to do that. And posture is a part of that. Now, posture is essentially positioning. It's the position that we're in, and there's good posture and there's bad posture. So I touched a little bit on sort of not so optimal postures, when we're hunched over a screen, when we're curled up around a phone. One of the classic ones I once dealt with was a college kid who was coming to see me for his elbows, and he was doing really, really well. And then he came back to see me the following week and was awful, like hugely flared up. And I was like, what did you do at the weekend? And he said, nothing. And I said, well, okay, well, but kind of like, what did you do? You must have done something. He was like, no, literally, I did nothing this weekend. I said, okay, let me rephrase the question. How did you fill your time from Friday when I saw you to Monday when I'm seeing you now? What physically did you do during that time? And he said, I lay in bed watching movies on my laptop. So to him, that was nothing. I said, well, what position were you in? So imagine he's lying in his bed on his back. He's propped up with pillows, pushing his head all the way forwards, and he's balanced his laptop on his belly. So he is in that position all weekend. And then we got this massive flare up. So I kindly pointed out that the position, the posture that he'd maintained for 48 hours was definitely cranking on his nerves and was probably causing a lot of the symptoms that he was now feeling. And we were able to settle down. So posture is something to be aware of all of the time, but there are optimum ways and less optimum ways to be. Now, had he kind of maybe propped himself up on a wedge so that his earlobes, shoulders, and hips were all in a straight line, rather than letting his head come way forwards over his shoulders, he probably wouldn't have had that flare up. It was purely the position that he was in. So there are ways of maintaining good posture, and don't think that it's about balancing a book on top of your head or sitting in that position without moving. It's like, I can just move my eyes, but other than that, I've got to keep this good posture. No, it's okay to move, but it's good to know where the least amount of stress and strain, or the least amount of abnormal stress and strain, the least amount of negative stress and strain is going through your spine and your body in a particular position. So optimum posture, when you're standing up, if you think about, if somebody was looking at you from the side, they would see your earlobe, shoulder, hips, and heels, maybe hips, knees, and heels, all in a straight line. That would be pretty much a straight line. So your chin is not forwards, your back is not rounded, you're just in that nice position. A lot of the times when we're in Pilates, we cue this by saying, imagine there's a piece of string attached to the top of your head and it's just lifting you up towards the ceiling, kind of lifting the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. That really helps to lift us up into that good position. Now, how are we going to maintain that when we're sitting at a desk? Well, again, you can be thinking about earlobe, shoulder, and hips in that nice straight line position. Now, posture and ergonomics kind of come together here when we're talking about how you should be sitting at a desk. And I'm going to talk about ergonomics in another episode. So we're just really going to focus on posture. So I'm going to whiz past this, but don't worry, it'll be coming. Because maintaining that position is the key to it. So it can be quite hard for your muscles, especially if you're not used to this and this is something new that you're trying. It can be quite hard for your muscles to be sitting for like free sitting. Imagine if you were sitting on a stool, so no backrest. It's quite hard to maintain good posture in that position for any length of time. And so let's make it easier to stay in a good position by having a great backrest, by having a great chair that's going to support you. Again, this comes into ergonomics. So look out for that in a future episode. But you can create good posture that is easy for you to maintain. Think about the kid who was propped up in the bed. If he'd have had a wedge pillow or just propped himself up with other pillows, so that if somebody looked from the side, earlobe, shoulder, and hips were in a straight line, he would have not had that flare up that he had. If you can sit at your desk, or think about when you're in the car, sitting in a car seat is actually a really good position because we tend to be fully supported by that. We've got the headrest that we can rest back against. So people sitting in cars tend to be in a better position just because we've got that full support. Now, more and more companies are starting to improve their office chairs. Office chairs used to be really short. They would stop at kind of like underneath your shoulder blades and you'd have no support for your shoulders, head and neck. And people have realized that actually I need that support. So more companies are now doing the sort of higher tall back office chairs. And actually the gold standard right now are gaming chairs. Gaming chairs are really coming into their own because if you think about gamers who sit there for hours on end, they need to be sitting in a good position. So gaming chairs actually do that. If you think about gaming chairs, look pretty similar to a car seat. You know, they've taken that big supportive position and they've put it into a gaming chair. So a lot of people who are now replacing their office chairs are actually bringing in gaming chairs. So maybe that's a consideration. Have a little think about that. I think that's so fun as well. You can get all kinds of different themed game chairs, all kinds of different colors. They're way more exciting than office chairs. So maybe look at that. Now, what about at night in bed? So thinking about posture being like lying down, we still have that postural consideration. Particularly, you know, we've already talked about the young guy who had too many pillows underneath his head and it was just pushing him forwards and creating that poor posture. You can do the same thing if you're in bed too. If you've got too many pillows underneath your head, you're on your back, it's going to push you forwards. Even if you're on your side, if you don't have enough pillows, maybe your head is kind of popping down and you don't have good alignment through your spine. We want to try and maintain neutral alignment. So neutral basically means in the middle. You're not in flexion or extension. You're not bent to the side one way or another. You're right in the middle. That's neutral alignment. And that's where your spine is actually going to be most comfortable and most happy. Now, we do need to talk about the lordosis that we have in our low back, in our lumbar spine. And that's a little curve, sort of almost like a little arch. And that's normal to be there. So we don't want the back to be sort of flattened. That's not normal, a normal position for the spine. The spine should have a little curve in it. And that's where it is most normal. So if you were to look at a spine from the side, you would see it's in kind of an S shape. And that's normal. It's not just straight up and down. It's a little curve to it. And that's normal. That's where it likes to be. That's its most comfortable position. So that's why when you do sit in the car seat, there's a little sort of lumbar support, kind of pushes you forward in your low back. As it pushes you forwards there, it sort of automatically helps to correct the rest of your spine. So just having a little pillow or cushion in your low back can be very, very helpful as well if you need it when you're, say, sitting on the couch or sitting on a dining room chair or a kitchen chair that maybe doesn't have any shape to it. A little cushion just pushing you forwards can be helpful. If you're out and about, you could always roll up your sweater or roll up your jacket and use that as a little lumbar support. That can be a really quick and easy way to give yourself some lumbar support if you're at the theatre or if you're a restaurant or something like that. You can't kind of lug around your cushion with you. So thinking about being in that good position, we also then have to maintain it. And again, if you are well supported, your muscles don't have to work hard at all to keep you in that position. If you are, and we talked about this a little earlier when I was saying, you know, imagine you're sitting on a stool. If you don't have any support, your muscles have to keep you there. They have to keep you in that position. That is then a little harder for the muscles to do. And that's where core stability, core stabilization comes in. And that's a big thing that we do in Pilates. And again, we'll be talking about that in a future episode. So look out for that coming as well. So I really love talking about posture. I talk about it a lot. And I want to give you the little tip that has helped so many of my clients. And it is this. Remember, I talked about this one thing that somebody introduced into their day that eliminated 10 years of back pain. And it's set a timer on your phone. If you're somebody who sits at a desk, if you're somebody who, I mean, even if you're sitting, I don't know, watching Netflix or something like that, if you're sitting is actually puts the most stress and strain through our low back, way more than standing, and definitely more than lying down. So there's a lot of strain goes through your spine when you're sitting. If you're sitting at work or sitting, you know, on your computer or whatever it is, set the timer on your phone for 20 minutes. That time, when that timer goes off, you're going to stand up, sit down, reset the timer. It goes off again in 20 minutes. You're going to stand up, sit down, reset the timer. You're going to go off again, stand up, sit down, reset the timer. You get it, right? That is all this client did, and it eliminated a decade of back pain. Why? Because it's essentially a pattern interrupter. When we sit at our desks, when we sit on our laptops, when we sit on our computers, we get sucked into what we're doing. And you can sit there for hours and hours and hours. And what happens over that period of time is our posture becomes worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And we're putting more and more negative strain through the spine until we get an internal reminder, which is pain. That's basically your body's way of saying, move, please. I don't like this. It's letting you know that you need to move. So instead of waiting for that internal reminder, we're using an external reminder, which is the timer on your phone. It's a pattern interrupter, because when you stand up and sit back down, you're going to stay in that good position a little longer. Now, over the 20 minutes, you might lose it. Then the timer goes off again. So you stand up, sit down in good position, and you are in that good position much, much longer than you're in that poor position. And that's the game changer. That is what was so transformational for this this client, and I believe it can be transformational for you too. So set the timer on your phone. It's probably going to you're going to be like, oh my goodness, it's going off again, it's going off again, it's going off again. But if it takes away your back pain, if it then means that you don't suffer with that discomfort, heck worth doing. It really is. Think of it as a pattern interrupter. It's just helping remind you to stay in that good position before an internal reminder, which would be pain, does that job for you. So give that a try. Let me know how you go with that as well. I would love to hear how it works out for you. And I hope to see you on the next episode. Take care. Bye.